Hello, 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 and welcome to Shared Space with Chap and Quida. And today we have Nicola from Garden of Nicola. Also, happy early birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so Nicola, I met Nicola at Bunting. We were neighborhood leadership fellows together in 2021, and we did walk with the doc and some amazing things. So, chat, before we get into our interview with the lovely Nicola, do we have any announcements?
Yeah, I got a couple announcements. Just in general, just got off a meeting with earlier today with Baltimore City Public Schools and their community liaison. We'd like to partner with anyone who can help us push a policy for the MTA to get transportation to students during summer, beyond just summer school. There's limitations right now with their card, but to be able to get to jobs, be able to get to a lot of all the youth events that many of our partners are having. Transportation is an obstacle. Definitely need prayer warriors, but also influencers in legislation, maybe with the MTA and the agencies to help us push that. Northeast Baltimore just got off a command meeting with them, with the chaplains, and I think David McNair with Creative Influence is still giving away through March produce boxes on Saturdays at Reach Partnership by Lake Clifton. What else? There was something.
And well, I know there's always, thank you, Doni, for sharing your platform. We
Yes.
love BlackUSA.News, Black News USA. And also, there's a show right on after us, Robert Report. And there's a show every day, I think every day at 7 and every day at 10. Right, Chap? Does that
Yes.
sound about right?
So there's a 9 a.m. with Donnie. There's a 10 a.m. with Hannah Blue. William Hannah Blue does a 10 a.m. morning show. And then we have many other shows. You guys can check out our web pages on Facebook or YouTube or BlackUSA.News for all the listings. And we're always working to make that easier to navigate for everybody. But definitely tune in, set your reminders, because we got some great people in the community sharing some different perspectives and really great information.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I am Laquita Chansey, founder of Small to More Homes, and we are going to get into it with Miss Nicola from Garden of Nicola. So, Nicola, you have been doing so many things. You're involved in food health, you're involved in mindfulness. I know you worked with Nika Namdi of Fight Blight Be More, who just released an app, by the way, downloadable free app, helps us address blight in Baltimore. So Fight Blight Be More. Go ahead and download that. So Nicola, let's get into it. Tell us about Garden of Nicola. Let's start there.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. It's been a day. It's also so happens to be my birthday. I'm a leap year baby, so I got like 2 birthdays in there, a birthday in there somewhere within the next 2 days. So a little plug there. But just a little bit about Garden of Nicola. So that is that's my brainchild. That's just the name that I use to just the platform for all of the different work that I've been doing in community. So like you mentioned, Quida, I've worked in food and health education. So I have, for the past 10 years, worked as a experiential educator. So particularly with immersive programs with Baltimore City youth. So I work with Youth Works, and I've also worked with students from Reach, where they guys do the do the produce boxes.
We love Rhonda. We love Rhonda.
Oh yes, that's McKinney, and so it's basically just the platform that I'm utilizing just as a vehicle to at this evolving work that I do. So my background is in nutrition, so food is definitely a part of it, like cooking. I'm plant-based, so I do a lot of like plant-based nutrition education, some meal planning support for business owners. So I work with some business owners in the area, helping them to make sure that they eat and that they're taking care of their wellness. I also, as I mentioned, worked a lot with youth. So that's sort of been shifting, because what started off as programs that were focused on like youth workforce development and cooking classes is now sort of evolving into me grounding and leaning into it more and bringing more of my, bringing more of like a cultural piece to it. So I'm building out this course called Ancestral Medicines right now. And that is a course that really looks at the intersections of like one's ancestors, their health, historical context, and your health, and things like ritual, and how there's just really a lot of medicines within within exploring like our identity. And so it's a lot of it's evolving, and it's I feel like it's changing all of the time, like what exactly Garden of Nicola is. But
Oh, we lost your audio a little bit.
is going off right now. It's, my birthday, so everybody's calling me.
I see.
But yes, that's really the gist of it. We did Walk with the Doc with Quida with Baltimore Homes, as well as with the sister Khadijah Hart, Tia Wells from Backyard Base Camp, our other bunting.
You're getting another call, Nicola. You are just too popular to be on. Your sound went out again. But hold on one sec. It looks like we have another guest, Chap.
We do. So let me introduce Nicola. And knowing that Nicola does a lot of ancestral work, I brought the ancestor. So Monique Smith, I'll allow her to introduce herself, but we are celebrating her this weekend. She was part of a documentary for HBO called Black and Missing. I believe, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the director of the documentary won an NAACP Image Award, and they couldn't have done it without her content and her life story, which is in the book. But Monique, if you want to introduce yourself, and welcome. You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. I was trying to mute myself because sometimes my sounds are taking over. Exactly. So hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm just loving all of this energy that's going on, talking about identity, talking about ancestry. This is what we want to build into our young adults every single day. So I am Monique Smith. I am a survivor of a child abduction. I am an author. I'm a motivational speaker. I am the director of what I call my life's work. I'm the longest living Jane Doe. The book is entitled I Am the Ancestor, and my goal was to document my story so it would be around long after I'm gone. And I've quickly dived right into being a catalyst. Anywhere my story can help someone, be it that it's human trafficking, missing children, identity, just sharing your story, freeing yourself. That's where I am. Some people say that you're all over the place. What are you doing now? I'm doing God's work. Like whatever He tells me to do, I'm moving on the strength of that. So I thank you for this platform. This is exciting. I'm excited.
Right.
Yes, when Chap told me, I'm sorry, Chap, to cut you off, but when Chap told me that we had an hour of your time, I said, let's do this. This is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. This is also the last day of Black History Month. Tomorrow starts Women's History Month. Like it all just goes together, if you ask me. Go ahead, Chap.
Especially because Monique, we know you and a lot of our partners, man, and we got to keep in mind we are perpetuating Black history. Like, we are Black history. You know, we're doing it every day. It's a lifestyle. It's not just something we look back to, but it's like we're making it now, and everything we do, we've got to be conscious of that. You know, we were talking the other night, like, a little bit about how the group of people we know, you know, are changing the world, and if we can focus and kind of all get focused on the same goals one at a time, and we can knock stuff out. We really have a great group of people in Baltimore who are just changing history for not only Black people, but people who are overlooked, people who are just, I forget the word they use, but disenfranchised type people. You know, we serve so much in so many different ways. And the guest that isn't connected with us right now, Nicola, was saying the same thing. She has this garden of services she does. And it's like you said, it's always changing. It's always, you know, evolving, or leads you to another thing and another thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like one of the dope things Nicola did at Backyard Base Camp, which is a farm over in, I guess, the Bel Air, Edison area. I don't know. But it's a farm owned by a Black woman. I think it's 7 to 9 acres. And Nicola did a harvest fest there for the kids. So all types of fruit, made funny faces, ate the fruit, discussed where the fruit comes from and how it replenishes us. So it's like fun, but also teaching kids, like, this is what you should be eating, not the stuff that comes in a plastic bag like Cheetos, because what is that? That doesn't grow from the earth. You know what I mean? And to your point, Chap, the ancestral work that Nicola does, I said, oh, this is perfect. Like, can you please show the book again, madam? Can you please show us your book again?
Oh, yeah.
Because, come on.
And let me tell you, if you guys take time to read the book, you know, Monique jokes if you make it past chapter 3, you'll make it through the book, because she really, I know she holds back, but even with her holding back, she has survived some really unique experiences. And I'll say also, when you read her introduction and stuff, it was important, Monique. Explain why it was important for you to tell your story and not have other people tell your kids your story.
You know, it's always important for you to verbalize who you are, you know, and where your directions are going. And that helps every single generation. Like the past, get a understanding, your current, get an understanding, and you catapult yourself to the next generation. I'm just trying to remind the world that all missing children aren't dead. Like, you know, we're here. When they forget about the missing milk carton children, when they forget about the cold cases of 20 and 30 and 40 years, and they give up hope and they just assume that people are deceased, you know, don't do that. Like, give up hope, unfortunately, you know, until bring closure to yourself. And even if it results in having a body bag, you know, then you can actually honor your ancestor, honor that individual's life, you know, pray over the body, and just greet your family with that part of the story that could really help someone else. You know, they could really, because a lot of people, they go missing for multitude of reasons. Kids run away, maybe because of neglect, maybe because of abuse, or maybe they were lured out of their homes. Men go missing, and it could be criminally related, but it could also be mental health related. So at the end of the day, knowing that individual story, that particular branch of your tree, helps the entire process of your lineage. And I wanted to make sure that I not only told a story, but I get a chance to live the story that I want told. Not the horrific child abuse and the rape and the mental abuse, the prostitute. Like, I have a whole, woo. You know, yes, that happened in my past, but it's not the direction that I wanted to go in. And I had a chance to change the narrative and gift my kids something. So much so that my story is actually in the African American Museum under story rights. So that's incredible. Like, it's in the National Museum. The writer's story.
Black history, baby.
Black history. And actually, you know that it's in the National Library well beyond, you know, once I'm gone. Somebody could use my story as part of, you know, the ancestors.com, the 23andMe, you know, any lineage piece. And then the work that we do with missing children. Like right now, the FBI recorded over 337,000 individuals in NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center. That portal has 337,000 people recorded just in 2021. Like, that's it's mind-boggling to figure out where are those individuals, but most importantly, what are we doing to help the families? And that's what we do, the boots on the ground in Baltimore. I'm very proud of the work that we do. The people who have partnered with me, people who have even just heard my story and inbox me. You know, I keep an eye on my kids more now after I heard your story. You know, that's gives me like just fuel for the journey.
And I'll share something that struck me this weekend, Monique, as I watched you, work the room and stuff and share with people. Mr. Long shared this fact that was mind blowing, but he said that 3,000 youth alone, 3,000 a year go missing just in DC. So like, there's a lot of stats that would really surprise you once you start digging.
Yeah.
But one thing that inspired me was that, so Monique was there with Tony, I think is her name.
Yeah.
So her daughter has been missing how long?
For 5 years.
5 years. So they have a great symbiotic relationship. We're all DMV, and we all partner when kids go missing. And what struck me about them too is that she shared that when she met Monique and read her story and saw that, like you said, I'm not dead, I'm still here. It reignited a hope for Miss Tony that to just continue looking for her daughter and continue to search and continue to advocate for missing people, because Monique was in a sense her daughter. Like, she's still somewhere. And I think the same for Monique, not that she said it out loud, but Tony kind of resembled that, or maybe he did, that Tony resembled that mom that you had hope for, that hopefully my mom is still looking for me. And so these two, when they get together, it's like fireworks, man. The room is just full of this energy and this love that the way that they support each other. It's not transactional, but it's like it's a real genuine force. And so I appreciate that. And those are, this weekend, just being with you, I appreciated those things specifically stuck out that I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's the same thing with Relisha Rudd. Tomorrow, March 1st in DC, they'll be doing a rally and another awareness campaign, because we all know the story of Relisha Rudd. 8 years ago, she unfortunately was reported missing, and the gentleman had murdered his wife, and they found him deceased in a park. So for 8 years, we don't know if she was trafficked to another state, trafficked to another country. Is she still alive? And there's not one new clue out there. But as long as we keep her story out there, campaigning, it's almost a BOGO. We're keeping her story and resources available in hopes of recovery, but we're also providing preventative measures of what families need to do every single day of their lives so their loved ones don't go missing. Being vigilant in the community, having a horrible conversation that you have to have when you see somebody on the news and you have to talk to your 13-year-old son, like, this is why I need you to text me where you are, when you leave home, and your daughter, the same thing. Boys are at a higher demand to go missing in traffic than girls are. The gap is changing. So it's really, like I said, it crosses so many thresholds of what we do in the DMV area. We were very fortunate to actually have so many organizations come together for the first ever DMV. So we pulled all 3 states together. And we had families that were catching trains from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, just so they can get their information inside of registries for their long-term cases. They would not have even known that if we did not have these awareness campaigns. So I'm grateful for every bit of work that I do, like every bit of it.
That's beautiful. So you all, Chap was telling me that you had an NAACP award. You also, I feel like, were you recently filming a movie or discussing filming? So wait, so now before we get into that, hold on. Nicola, while you were gone, I mentioned the Harvest Snack Lab. So that was only one of the things that I could remember from what you were doing at Backyard Base Camp. Get back into the ancestral curriculum, because we want to hear a little bit more about that. Tell us what that's about.
So first of all, that's just amazing hearing your story. I'm sorry, was it?
That's not my name.
Monique.
Don't worry about getting it correct anyway.
Okay, I was going to say Melissa, and I was like, wait, let me look at the thing. My bad. But no, I mean, riveting story. I mean, just like as a mom, I mean, that's just things that you have to think about all of the time. And it's a reality that we have to deal with. But even how that is so deeply connected to like my passion for this work of building out this ancestral medicine curriculum. So my roots are from Southern Africa. So I'm indigenous Southern African native, Cape Malay on my mom's side, and on my dad's side, where we are over Herero. So over Herero was a small ethnic group from Southwest Africa, largely unknown. Most people haven't really heard of it. They used to be in the majority of Southwest Africa, but it's also not very well known that the Herero people were the victims of the first genocide in the first genocide of the 20th century. So Germany, before World War II, before the Jewish Holocaust, were in Southwest Africa with a mission to exterminate every man, woman, and child Herero person from the face of the planet, to, you know, and put them in concentration camps, and basically exterminated 80% of the Herero people from the years 1904. It's officially 1904 to 1908, but it was really longer than that. And on my father's side, like I'm a direct descendant on my dad's side. So my ancestors, they actually escaped Namibia. They were cast across the desert and were taken in as refugees in Botswana, where my father was born. And then later they came back to Namibia. And, you know, and also this is within the context of like Southern African apartheid, which was like shortly right after that. And, you know, my family migrated to the United States when I was a baby of 6 months old. And they really just kind of assimilated into this American culture. Like, I didn't even know that I was from South Africa, you know, until I was like 8 years old, you know, and that was a whole nother story in and of itself. And what I just shared about, you know, this genocide, the war, the Kaiser's Holocaust, I didn't even know about until I was a student at Morgan State University, and I was informed by a professor who just so happened to also be from South Africa. And so when, you know, I was listening to Monique talking about like being able to tell our stories, being able to like really lean into our stories to be able to like extract like healing, hope, medicine, directing and our trajectory of our path. We got to know these things, you know, we got to know who we are, we have to be connected, you know, to who we are. So that, you know, when, you know, I'm, you know, a graduate of Morgan State, you know, when I came into that information, it was very, you know, traumatizing. One of my family, I'm like, oh, I'm hearing about, you know, this is what a professor told me. Like, did this happen? Like, did this happen to our family? And my dad's like, oh yeah, like, just, you know, totally just swept it under the rug. Like, didn't tell me, but, you know, and it just took years and years of processing and just like studying and just learning and unpacking to be able to just reconcile with that. And it's definitely connected to like what is becoming and birthing into this ancestral medicines curriculum. Because what I'm doing is right now I'm working with 11th graders, and a lot of them, they're like in the top of their class. You know, we're with Merit Leadership Academy in Baltimore City, and you know, it's basically this reflective course where the youth are being invited to explore their lineage and you know, starting with like interviewing elders and their families, learning more about like how they got to Baltimore, different cities that are associated with their backgrounds and their histories, and then learning about rituals and how rituals were like tea ceremonies, or even face painting, or you know, dance and song and chanting and humming, you know, as a way to and the connection with the nervous system, you know, and regulating our nervous system, and how our nervous systems are connected to our ancestors. You know, how we can literally carry the memories and the energies, energies not created or destroyed, only transformed or transferred. So it's really just this desire to transform this energy, because when I heard about that genocide from my from my lineage, as well as also the trauma from my mom's side too, from being Cape Malay, I was like, it made a lot of sense. I was able to now work with that. Like now I could work with something. I was able to transform it and not just transfer and throw it around, because a lot of us were walking around with so much trauma, whether it was something that we went through personally or something that we're not even necessarily knowing why we're going to fight, flight, or freeze, about. And, being able to like deconstruct that and break that down. So that's like the intention really behind this course. So it's like a 5-week, a 5-week workshop series that culminates in like a final project. And so we're in the midst of, really just getting into the explorations with them interviewing the elders. And it's been a really healing process for me too, going through this, because I mean, the Herero people, we're like tight, like everybody knows everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like we in group chats and stuff, like everybody knows everybody. And, the Holocaust, that my people endured is still like, those wounds are very fresh still, and the impacts of the horrific things, that my ancestors went through are things that, that people still have to live with, that folks are still living with the devastating impacts of that, whether it's economically, whether it's through the generational traumatic debris from that, and a lot of dysfunction that came from that. And so I just feel empowered to be able to be in a space and to be in a city like Baltimore with, I just feel like it's such a diasporic like powerhouse. It's just like such a diasporic powerhouse to be able to workshop with young people, to be able to build with folks like Quida, and with the other folks that do wellness interventions and things around. Because in my personal wellness journey, because I tell you what, I was on the Queen of Fua detox, like juice cleanse, fast, all that good stuff, like for years when I was at Morgan, I was real militant. I was known for walking around campus with a huge, jug of water with apple cider vinegar and cayenne pepper. And, that was me with the lemon juice. But, when I didn't have that knowledge of who I was, I didn't have that knowledge of my history and what I was dealing with, and why I kept feeling like I was hitting my head up against a brick wall, that I was like, okay, wellness is not what the mainstream culture is presenting it to be. It's not just what you eat and then, you do a little meditation and things like that. Historical context is relevant in that too. That also plays a piece in how we can access wellness. Things that our ancestors.
But in addition to, I'm sorry, Nicola, not to cut you off, but in addition to historical context, the context of the trauma that we're experiencing today, like whether it's us actually going through something or us seeing it on TV. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm experiencing trauma every time I see a Black person die in real life. That's not a movie. And like right now, what's going on in the Ukraine, like Africans are not allowed through either border. So they're just like
stuck,
stranded. Like this is a war that is affecting so many people. How at this moment are you deciding that no, you are not important enough to be considered in our escape plan? And I'm sorry, Chap, go ahead. I know you had something to say.
No, I just wanted to back up and comment on what you said about just like learning your ancestral history and why it was important. And we've talked on the show before. Matter of fact, we talked on Joey Noble's show because he is like a smart dude, right? And this is what he's studied. But we talked about how genetically we deliver our trauma to our children through our genetics, and how the only way to break up that gene and kind of hit the reset button and release our children from that trauma is to discuss it. like literally talking about it, deconstructs that gene that transfers trauma. And so, like you spoke of, you were probably in college dealing with trauma. And so, to point back to Monique and why she told her story and shared her story with her children is because if she didn't, and she handed down genetically this trauma behavior, these idiosyncrasies, if they just have them and they don't understand why or where they came from or how to process them, then they are not going to live up to their full potential. They're going to get stuck on, why am I like this? Why am I like this? Like you said, beating your head against the wall. But once you dig and once you learn and once you receive along with the knowledge, like you said, that energy, but that knowledge opens a door of where you came from and who you are, then that clears a path for where you're going.
Yeah. Now, can I interject? Yeah. Look, so I want to make sure I say her name right. Is it Nicola?
Yes.
Nicola. Listen, Linda, listen. What you are doing is phenomenal. I never had anyone nurture me and embrace me. No one motivated me. No one inspired me. No one encouraged me. I'm talking from my preteen years, teen years, 20s, 30s, straight on up. But hearing you speak about what you're doing, you're gifting kids an opportunity to get away from how they feel about their current environment. Like I speak to a lot of kids, and you always get in Baltimore City. Oh, my father a deadbeat. My mother ain't no good. My cousin locked up. My mother on drugs. Like, you hear the horror stories. Mm-hmm. But when you tell an individual that they have a chance to take control of the realm themselves, like they can get on the bull, grab the horn, and ride it because they're going through their ancestral. So my piece was, I used to tell people all the time, like, I don't know my name. I don't know how old I am. And I'm talking to you guys right now. I still don't know my name. I still don't know how old I am. However, I had a chance, to have these conversations with people and say, yeah, I would have loved to say, oh, my great-great-great-grandmother worked in the White House. We have family in Texas because we had land in Texas that we're going to have. Absolutely nothing. And as David had mentioned, I had to embrace that and figure, like, how am I going to make this special? I can't say that we got Cherokee Indians because, that's why you got good hair. So you're giving them, you're empowering these kids with the ability to say, the good, bad, and difference. I have a chance now that I'm learning about ancestral, where I come from. And look, I put the camera on. When I did my DNA at Ancestors.com and 23andMe, and I was working with the DNA detectives with CC Moore from Night 9 News, and they literally gave me like this printout of everyone on my mother's side, and then everyone on my genetically connected father's side. Of course, everyone's deceased, but it gifted me something when I realized, how could this have happened to me? Like, how could I have been stolen from a person? And when I went back and played, and this is what your youth are gonna get, is that my mother was basically by herself. She was a throwaway mom. She had 7 kids by 7 different men, looking for love probably in all the wrong places. But I couldn't be mad and angry at her. Like, why didn't she protect me? I was beat every day. I got beat twice when it rained at the age of 5, 6, 7. Why didn't she protect me? I didn't know at the time that the people who raised me wasn't my family. But when I got a chance to look at the history, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my bio mom did not have a circle of nothing. There was her mother abandoned her, her father abandoned her. No one came to her rescue. And then when I went to the DNA, she was an only child. Like, could you imagine being on the planet with no mother and father, no sisters and brothers? So even if she wanted help, there was none. There was none. So when I was able to feel that and talk to my children, and say, that's why, this is what happened. She was so vulnerable. She was so easy to manipulate. It's a healing process. And again, Nicola, you had said earlier about the emotional tear. Did you hear Whoopi Goldberg just had to apologize to the Jewish community because she had said what happened to them with the Holocaust wasn't race driven, when in all actuality, it was just to her, an evil man picked a culture of people and decided to do away with them. So yeah, that hurt. That's hella hurt. And that's the same thing that African Americans are experiencing now with disparities to this day, to this day. So I want to applaud you for, seeing that vision, pouring into that vision, sharing the vision, and giving these young adults an opportunity, because that's what I tell them. When they say, I run a multi-million-dollar company. And when I say I don't have a mother, I don't have a father, I don't have a sister, I don't have a brother, if I could do it, and I don't even have an identity. You can do it too. And I'm telling you, what you're doing is empowering them. I applaud you. Like, congratulations on that.
That means a lot to me. That means a lot, because it's like we have to fight for that. We really have to fight to be able to well, I mean, some of us had to, you know what I mean? Like, some of us had to fight to get that knowledge. Like, I had to go and seek that knowledge, or like the knowledge came to me, or, with your story, that's a whole, that's a whole journey, that's a whole journey, and, and so my, like, what my hope is that for future generations that I want to be a part of, contributing to, helping to be a leg up of, like, you don't have to be like, not knowing who you are, or not having any tools to deal with what you deal with,
Right.
So the things that differentiate you from, like, maybe other people that you consider normal or have a normal life and whatnot. So
yeah, it's a great thing. Even with homelessness, I see, the work with the small homes, like you said, you still lose your sense of identity, which means you don't have, like, your strength to, surpass some of the traumatization that you're had in the past and what you're dealing with, right now. That's why I'm such a fan of the bread coins. You got to grab onto absolutely everything that could potentially help somebody, become that catalyst where you're just giving just enough to help that next person, and that helps mankind as a whole. Society will be a better place in years to come if we continue the work that we're doing today.
Absolutely. The bread coin, like you, Miss Monique, when I heard about the bread coin, I said, how do we get this thing to Baltimore? How do we make this happen? This is absolutely, like, one of the best ideas. It's totally a food coin. And I think it creates an equitable opportunity for people who would otherwise not have access to food. And now we have access to more funds in those communities. So, like you said, bread coin.
Could you break that down? I haven't heard of that.
Go ahead, Chapo. Tell us about bread coin.
Yeah, y'all got it. Y'all heard enough about it. Monique sells it really good. I'm not gonna lie, but
let me know.
She'll pull on your heartstrings. But in short, you can visit breadcoin.org. Has great information there. It's easy to navigate. But it's a food token that we are able to distribute in the community for people who are experiencing homelessness or hunger, to incentivize. Like, some of my coins I give to rec centers and schools for students, or students who they know are experiencing hunger. But what it is, it's a food token we give out in the community. We have right now, I think, 11 partners, 12 partners in Baltimore. So there's 12 restaurants spread out pretty well throughout the city, where you can spend the coins and they'll receive them as money. They'll give them a $2.50 value. So, like, if you get a pizza at Giovanni's in Parkville, give them 4 coins. You get a pizza. If you're over on, like, I think North Ave and St. Paul's there's Terra Cafe and there's Island Cuisine. If you go to the site, there's like 11 spots in Baltimore, 60 in DC. And so what I do is I try to partner with restaurants that are in areas that I know are struggling, or I know will benefit the most. We're in negotiations with Baltimore City Public Markets to hopefully encourage them to at least have one vendor in each market, right? Because that's just more food access for our people. So I guess it's a long version. It's a food token. We give it out where, I have community chiefs and partners like Monique and Quida, who are trusted. They're trusted. They're family to me. They're my sisters. And So I know that they're going to do good with the coins, and so I give them the people that we trust, that we know where the needs are, and they pour hundreds of dollars into different communities monthly. So like Breadcoin has donors, Breadcoin has restaurant partners, and Breadcoin has us to distribute, and that's pretty much in short how it works.
Yeah, I loved it. I love it because it goes back to exactly what you do when you talk about ancestry and having dignity and pride and self-worth and, discovering who you are, regardless of, what has happened to you in the past, the adversities that you're constantly facing, but to have enough dignity to walk into a place where you're usually barred because you can't go, but you can actually sit down inside, have a meal, and that's going to inspire them. It may even have them think of, let me get off the street. Let me look for housing. Let me try to find, a way that I can clean myself up. Let me try to get employment. And that's going to probably lead into them just transitioning themselves back in, I guess, what we call normal, because some individuals they find where they at.
Well, and I'll share too. It's the little things that restore dignity, and that dignity gets a foothold and can build momentum when it's partnered with hope. And just like the Breadcoin, just maybe someone hasn't been just to sit down and bought what they wanted off a menu, and who knows how long, you just don't know. And that one experience might bring them back to like an awakening of, I remember this, right? And I'll share a story. I love to share because I think my wife's not home, but we were north in Penn, right? I was with Tori Rose. She had done a health fair, and we had like clean needles and condoms and testing for STDs and AIDS and things like this, and a lot of like medical needs that are for the most desperate people, right? And or labeled as desperate, I'll say. And everyone that needed what we had was across the street, like getting high and doing their thing. And they're not going to show up because you're doing a health fair. What do they care, right? So we had to go and wrangle people and say, hey, look, there's all this stuff, just while you're here, just take a couple minutes, come get checked, come get some free stuff and whatever. And some people felt like they were being treated very transactionally. So I as a police chaplain, I grabbed this young lady and her friend because they were especially aggressive and feeling that way. So, we talked for a little bit, and I got them and kind of got them everything that they needed without too much fuss. And when we were done, I just gave them a hug. If you know me, people know I love people. And when I gave the young lady and her friend just a hug, they started crying. And when they shared with me why they were crying, I started crying. But then we had the conversation went from transactional to transformational. And so the young lady who was crying and her friend shared that they hadn't just gotten a hug without any expectations, just that human contact and it's pre-COVID. They just hadn't gotten a hug in like 15 years on the street. No one just hugged them and said, I love you. Right. And that was like, to me, my heart dropped into my stomach, and I'm like, it was a rude awakening for me. Even though I'm out here all the time, it was just like, wow, like I couldn't imagine that. Right. And I'm fresh off of trauma training with the police and some other stuff. And so like, it really struck me. I was like, wow, just a hug. But 19 days later, I get a phone call at like 2 a.m. from my friend. Because everybody gets my number. I'm an open book. I'm 24/7. If there's a need, like between me and Quida and Monique and a couple other people, we're always available to serve whatever needs you have. And so the young lady calls me at 2 a.m. My wife rolls over and she's like, who the F? I'm put her out there. She said, who the F is calling you at 2 a.m? And I'm like, oh, and not to label people, but to put it in context of the story, I literally told my wife, I'm like, oh, it's that hooker from North Avenue. She's calling me, and my wife just like evil eyes me, and she's like, well, if I didn't know you better, and just went back to sleep. And it's like this really funny moment in my life, but like life is truth is stranger than fiction. But she had called me at 2 a.m. because she was in a recovery program with Helping Up Mission. They have the women's building, and they're on a blackout for 3 months. So you're not allowed to email, text, no contact with nobody. So she snuck a phone to call me and say that. She said, your hug, the people you connected me with, because there was no, because of the relationship we forged, she was able to receive from me a young woman who could help her, got in the Helping Up Mission, had been clean 19 days, and she just couldn't wait to tell me. So she snuck a phone and called. And so like, but again, that dignity that came with that hug and the hope that came with that, just like something like the bread coin, if we can create more hope and dignity, then that's what changes people's lives.
Yeah.
And I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah.
Human connection right there.
Right. It definitely wasn't a soapbox. And you know, one of the studies, I say this all the time, said something like a healthy amount of hugs is 5 to 12 a day. So to go 15 years without a
My son
single,
is cheesing. You know, Dougie's cheesing. He's like, he
I'm,
loves when you say that.
because it's true, y'all. We need to embrace people. That's why when I meet people, I'm like, I'm a hugger. Like, we can shake hands or whatever, but I'm a hugger. Like, embrace and yeah, like, feel this love, please. But what I do want to say is that Robert will be on in about 9 minutes. So I need to know, Miss Monique, how do we get your book? How do people
Yes.
find you?
Gotta have that.
We need your information. So give us the contact details.
Well, I'm listed on knownasmonique.com. The books are autographed if it goes from that page, but it's on Amazon as well. But it comes from their fulfillment center. I do feature the documentary, The Longest Living Jane Doe, and 100% of the proceeds supports all of my charity. Like, we raised thousands of dollars just last night for that particular event, and we're able to go. So just know that when you're purchased, you're just not reading a book, you're getting someone else's story about lineage and the importance of telling your story, like really what actually happens. It sells for $19.66 because that's the year that I think I was born. So I made sure I was intentional about about every single part of the book, but it's on Known as Monique. Now on Facebook, I'm known as Monique as an advocate for missing. So I post a lot of safety tips. I post a lot of people that are missing. On Instagram, IG is mostly my speaking engagements or any of the outreach that I do. My email address, you're welcome to have it, is knownasmonique@gmail.com. So I'm forever thankful to the Creator. If I can help people every single day with some advice, a tip, a safety piece, how to write a book, how to tell your story, how to be inspired, how to be resilient, how to be something out of absolutely nothing. I thank God for that very opportunity to be able to do it.
Yes, and I love the idea of you being able to tell your story. No one can put you in a box. You're going to tell everybody exactly where you belong, even if it's beyond. Exactly. Even when it's beyond the box. Like, nobody recognizes these boxes. Like, I am frigid and I have angles and it doesn't work. Okay. So yeah, let's not do that. And so Miss Nicole, go ahead.
I want to comment real quick. I just want to comment real quick that I've known Monique. I don't know. It's over a year, maybe 2 years, maybe not. I'm not sure. I know Doni introduced us a while back. But look, I'll roll with her anytime, anywhere since. And I just want to make sure people know, when you buy the book, she does not make any money off the book. She invests in the wealth of knowledge when she shares her story. And that money goes to people in the community that are pitching in with her, and she knows they're doing good stuff. I promise you, I've seen her give away thousands of dollars to people who are just serving, whether they're nonprofit or not. So you're supporting our community if you're buying the book. So thank you.
That's beautiful.
That's huge.
And where do I come to class at, Nicole? Where do I come to class?
Right, it's your turn.
Yes. So currently the Ancestry Medicines course, that's through Merit Leadership Academy, but I am working on building it out. So I'm doing it with the teenagers, but I'm working on doing it with an older group as well. So collaboration in the making with Backyard Base Camp. So that's some things that are percolating. But I had on social media, I'm on Instagram as Garden of Nicola. So you can follow me there. So just all one word, Garden of Nicola. So that's Nicola, Garden of. And that's just the best way to contact me right now. Also via email, it would be the same, gardenofnicola@gmail.com. gardenofnicola.com coming soon. This was an amazing conversation, and I cannot wait to get your book Monique, so that I can delve into, just being deeper connected with the amazing works that you're doing, and also with the Breadcoin initiative that you guys mentioned. That was new to me, so thank you.
And we're going to have to get you guys back. I feel like I was setting y'all up for the next questions and we never got back to them. Like, we need to bring y'all back.
But I
There's
do
so
have
much more to share.
I do have one thing I need to do before we go. I need to volunteer Monique to be available for interviews. And I'm not saying because she's an elder. She's like 24 plus shipping and handling. A lot of shipping and handling. But we don't know how much. But I will say it'd be beautiful if you could make yourself available to Nicola's students as they learn to research their ancestry.
I would love to
you are the ancestry.
on that, Monique. Just we need to. Let's definitely link for sure.
Definitely check those emails because I made sure. Yeah, I knew y'all. We knew this was gonna happen. I said, hold up, wait, I got it. Like, this is gonna be amazing. Okay, look, I can't wait. I can't wait to have y'all back and know what's gonna be next. I feel like this is a whole new grant opportunity and a whole new program is about to emerge and lives are about to change even more. Okay. So does anybody have any? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Monique.
No, I said thank you so much for the invitation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it sounds like Chap has voluntold you to work with Nicola. You graciously agreed. So this is beautiful. I mean, that's how it happens. That's how it happens. Like, this is whole family, all tribe, right? So we'll be back, shared space, next Monday, 7 p.m. Nicola, you've given your contact information. It sounds like for IG. And Monique, you are on Facebook. You got the website. Folks can get your book on Amazon, but the website has a signed copy. So folks go to the website, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Happy birthday to me too.
Once again, happy birthday, beautiful.
Thank you.
And Chapel, you have any last things to say?
Nope. I love you all. Appreciate your time because time is money. And so thank you guys for sharing what you're doing. And I look forward to doing more.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming out, y'all. God bless and good night.
Great to meet you both.
All right. You too. Well.
See y'all.